Your engine is basically a giant heat generator, and it relies entirely on a complex cooling system to keep it from melting down. So when you see a code like P00B5, you need to take it seriously. This code stands for Radiator Coolant Temperature Sensor Circuit Intermittent. It applies to a huge range of vehicles, from Mercedes and BMW to Honda and Ford. The engine control module, or ECM, uses the coolant temperature sensor to decide how much fuel to inject and when to fire the spark plug. Most of these sensors are what we call negative temperature coefficient sensors. That is a fancy way of saying that as the engine gets hotter, the electrical resistance inside the sensor goes down. When you get a P00B5, the computer is telling you that the signal from this sensor is cutting in and out. It is not just dead, it is unreliable. This is moderately severe because if the computer thinks the engine is cold when it is actually hot, it will dump too much fuel in, causing hard starts, erratic idling, stalling, and poor mileage. You definitely do not want to ignore this and end up with a cooked engine. Troubleshooting this is straightforward, but requires care. First off, never open the cooling system when it is hot. Seriously, let it cool down completely. Start with a visual check. These sensors live in harsh environments, often right on the radiator or cylinder head. Look for melted wiring, broken lock tabs on the connector, or corrosion. I have seen plenty of these where the plastic connector has just become brittle and cracked over time. Also, look for leaks around the sensor gasket. Air getting into the system can mess up the reading. If the physical inspection passes, you need to test the sensor itself. You'll need a multimeter and the resistance specs from your service manual. Measure the resistance across the sensor pins. If it is out of range, the sensor is toast. Since this is an intermittent code, try wiggling the connector while you're watching your meter. If the numbers jump around wildly, you likely have a bad connection or a broken wire inside the insulation. Another pro tip is to check your coolant level and quality. Old, acidic coolant can corrode the sensor probe, and low coolant means the sensor might not even be touching liquid half the time. If you replace the sensor, make sure you clean the mounting surface well and use the correct antifreeze when topping back up. A simple $50 sensor and an hour of your time can save you thousands in engine repairs, so get under the hood and check that wiring first.